Myth. You can get a good deal on a new car. Truth. A new car loses 70% of its value in the first 4 years, according to finalcall.com. Kiplinger's Personal Finance Magazine verifies it with very, very similar numbers. Now let me try and tell you what that means. If you buy a $28,000 car, in 4 years it's going to be worth $8,400 on average. That's the average in America today. That's $408 a month that you are losing. So if you're driving a brand new $28,000 car once a week on your way to work, roll down the window, throw out one of these on the interstate just to kind of get the effect of what's going on. Well, now you just don't believe in having anything nice. I believe in having a lot of stuff nice. I just don't want that nice stuff to have me. I'm not one of those financial guys that says you ought to live in a cave, collect lint, and only come out on triple coupon Thursday. I want you to get some nice things. But when you pay hundreds and hundreds of dollars a month, every month through your whole life in car payments, it is very difficult to build wealth. The car payment financially, mathematically, is the mantra of the middle class. You are dooming yourself to financial mediocrity if you keep car payments as a way of life. Get the stupid thing paid off and then do what rich people do, and that's pay cash. Think. It's the largest thing we buy that goes down in value. And the Consumer Bankers Association reports that 33.5% of car buyers owe more on their trade-in than it's worth. That's 1/3 of the people driving around out there when they hit a car lot. 1 out of 3 are upside down. They owe more on their car than it's worth. And that's the other call I get on the air all the time. Dave, how do I get out from under the upside down car? So, that's the deal. There is not such a thing as a good deal on a new car. Ooh, that one's a tough one. Didn't hear any cheers then. The worst car accidents happen on the showroom floor. That's what we're talking about. Now, is it ever okay to buy a brand new car? Absolutely. Absolutely. When you have $1 million. And if you do what I teach you to do, it won't be that long. You'll be amazed how quick. And in the meantime, you can drive some nice cars. But when you got $1 million, you can afford to lose 10 or 15 or 20,000 bucks on something and enjoy that. I got a friend of mine that's worth $20 million. He called me up the other day and he said, Dave, I'm thinking about buying my wife a brand new $70,000 Lexus for Christmas for her present. What do you think? And I said, dude, you got $20 million. Shut up. What are you asking me for? And go get the car. Or the guy that calls me on the air one day, and the call screener software, when I'm on the air, the person's name pops up when Laura takes the call and then types in the subject of the person that's what they're calling about. And it says, Ron in Birmingham, and it types in, wants to buy a Harley. Now, normally on the Dave Ramsey show, that's a 32-year-old little boy who's behind on his student loan, his wife's scared, there's no emergency fund, they've got 6 payments on everything else, and he wants to go buy a Harley because he works hard. I'm sorry, I'm getting ready to kill this guy when he comes on the air. I'm just loading my gun, and he comes on the air, and I'm ready to get him. I'm poised, right? And he says, yeah, Dave, I've always wanted a Harley. It's been a lifelong dream of mine to have a big Harley, one of those big road bikes, blah, 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 blah. I said, man, I got to tell you, Harleys are cool bikes. They make a neat sound. Those guys riding around on them, they all look cooler than me. I like them. They're neat bikes. I said, maybe you ought to get you one. Tell me about your financial situation. I'm figuring he's going to start telling me how broke he is and how he deserves a Harley, and he's going to put it on payments, and then I'm going to kill him. So I was kind of setting him up. I said, so how much you make a year? And he said, well, last year I made $650,000. What? Oh, yeah, I'm a neurosurgeon. So what'd you make the year before? Well, $550, $560. How much money you got in mutual funds? About $10 million. Dude, buy the Harley. So I guess we're laying out some guidelines here, aren't we? If you live like no one else, later you get to. If you drive like no one else, later you get to. And you don't have to feel guilty about it because you haven't put your family in jeopardy because you wanted a toy. The guy that drove up with the old vet that was so cool on my driveway, he's worth several $1 million. That old vet was under 10 grand. He just bought it for fun. If he drives it off a cliff tomorrow, it doesn't change his life. With no insurance. As long as he's not in it. Financially. Doesn't change his life. You with me? I mean, this is how this stuff works. Enjoy your money, but don't go get stuff when you haven't got the money. That's what children do. Adults devise a plan and follow it. Children do what feels good. And I know this is hurting some of your feelings. And like I said, it's a gift. Myth. Myth. I'll take out a 30-year mortgage and pay extra on it. I promise. I'll pay it like a 15. Truth is, life happens and something else will always seem more important. Never take out ever more than a 15-year fixed rate mortgage, and never take out more than a fourth of your take-home pay in a payment. Stay away from these adjustable rates, stay away from these balloon mortgages, stay away from these ARMs. We're going to cover that in detail. But let's look at the 15 versus the 30 for a second. A 15-year mortgage on a $225,000 mortgage at 6% has a payment on a 30-year of $1,349. On a 15-year has an $1,899 payment. That's a difference of $550. But here's what happens. When you pay 30 years of $1,349 a month, you pay for the $225,000 $485,000. When you pay 15 years of $1,899 a month, you pay $341,000 for that $225,000. So when you do the 15-year mortgage, you save yourself $143,874. This is a lot of money. And you save yourself 15 years in bondage, because you know what I figured out? 15-year mortgages, they always pay off in 15 years or less. 30-year mortgages that I promise I'm going to pay sooner don't always do it. As a matter of fact, most of the time they don't, because stuff comes up like the transmission goes out or we got to buy a prom dress. There's always a little bit of life happening in our budget, isn't there? And the first thing to go is the pay an extra routine is the first thing to go in the budget. So that is a myth. Don't take out a 30 and think you're going to pay it like a 15. Myth. It's wise to take out an adjustable rate mortgage or a balloon mortgage, because that's all I can qualify for. And besides that, I'm going to be moving anyway. Truth. You will be moving when they foreclose. See, what you've got to think about is this. The adjustable rate mortgage started in the early 1980s when interest rates on fixed rate mortgages went to 17, 18, and 19%. I was selling real estate, started selling real estate in 1978. And we were selling real estate in the early 80s in the Jimmy Carter era, and the rates went just through the roof. And we were sitting there with 17.5% and 18% fixed rates. And so we started seeing these new adjustable rate mortgages, which were cheaper. They were like 1 or 2 or 3% even less. And man, I mean, 15% looks good in an 18% world, doesn't it? Or 12% looks really good in a 16% world. And that's what the world we were operating in. And so we were in the real estate business, we were all like, yeah, anything to get the rate down, right? But what we started understanding and discovering over the years is this. Mortgage companies, when they do a fixed rate loan, or a bank that does a fixed rate loan at, say, 6%, 7%, if they have several $100 million that they are committed to receive only 6% on, or only 7% on. And then if rates go up, in order to attract people to deposit on money markets, they may have to pay more out on savings accounts than they're receiving in on these mortgages. Banks don't like it going that way. They want to pay out less than they're receiving in. They want to pay out 2% and get 7% in, don't they? And when it goes the other way, it's called disintermediation. Well, when that happened in the 80s, it happened so big that it caused the savings and loan industry to fail. You thought it was fraud. And you thought it was all the news stories and everything that came out. The actual statistics were that 12.5% of the S&Ls that failed due to fraud. The rest of them failed. Disintermediation got them. Because their money markets were at 12%, and they had hundreds of millions of dollars of loans laying down in here from the early 70s at 5, 6, 7, 8%. And they got upside down on their own deal. Well, the adjustable rate came out so that the next time these rates go up, that at least a bunch of their mortgages will go up as the rates go up. So the adjustable rate mortgage is not here for you. The adjustable rate mortgage is here to keep the bank from losing money in an increasing interest rate environment. It transfers the risk of higher interest rates to you. That's what it's for. So why do we do the 30-year mortgage? Why do we do the adjustable rate mortgage? Why do we do all of these things? Well, why don't we, if we have a 30-year mortgage, why do we have a 30-year mortgage? Why don't we have a 42-year mortgage? Why don't we have a 27-year mortgage? Where'd 30 come from? What's the magic number? Nobody seems to know. I've researched it for years. The 40-year mortgages, everybody talks about it, but it never really happens. 20-year mortgages, talk about it, but it never happens. 15s have become popular as rates have come down, and people like me, consumer advocates, have pushed them. But the 30-year mortgage is still the standard in the business, isn't it? The adjustable rate mortgage is still the standard in the business. Why is it that it's that way? Why do we go that way all the time with our mentality? Nobody seems to know. It's kind of like the story Zig Ziglar tells. One time when he was selling, he won a sales contest, and the prize for winning the sales contest was a prize country ham. Now Zig is from Mississippi, and a prize country ham's about as good as it gets. He and I have become friends, and I got to tell you, he loved that ham. I can promise you he did. He came home and he took that ham and he took it in the kitchen and he handed it to his wife Jean, and she immediately cut the end off of it and put it in a pan and began to bake it. This is a story he tells in his seminars all the time. And he said, "Why did you cut the end off my prize ham?" And she said, "Well, that's how you bake them." And he said, "No, it's not. You bake the whole thing." She said, "Well, no, you cut the end off. That's what my mama always did." And he said, "Well, why did your mama do it?" "Well, I don't know. Let's call Mama and ask her." So they call Mama and ask her, "Mama, why do we cut the end off the ham?" "Well, I don't know. My mama always did it." "Well, let's get her on a conference call." So they get Granny on a conference call. They're all sitting there. "Granny, I cut the end off the ham. Zig says I shouldn't have done that. Mom says she always did it, and because you always did it. I always did it because she always did it. Nobody knows why we do this. Why do you cut the end off the ham?" She said, "Well, I don't know why you two are doing it, but my pan was too short." So why we take out a 30-year mortgage? We don't know. Somebody at one time decided it was a good idea, and I suspect it was a banker. Something to think about. So, I'll take out an adjustable rate mortgage or a balloon? No, I don't think so. I think instead we will get rid of that particular myth. Myth. You need a credit card to rent a car or make a purchase online or by phone. Surely by now you know that is a myth. Because you know you could use what? A debit card. That's right. I carry 2 debit cards. One on my personal account, one on my business account. I travel more than any 2 of you put together. I've been to Europe. I've been to Hawaii. I've been to Mexico. They take the Visa debit card. Shut up. You can do everything you can do with a debit card except go in debt that you can do with a credit card. Well, if they take money out of your account, it's gone. No, it's not. They have to put it back. Visa has a 0 liability policy for debit and credit cards when your Visa card is used as a debit card or a credit card. Now, if you punch in a PIN number, it becomes an ATM. But if you just swipe your debit card just like someone else would do a credit card, you have the exact same protections, 100% protection on your account, according to Visa's website. Look it up. That's what it says. So don't let people lie to you and tell you the debit card has more risk. Sometimes it's a little less convenient because you can't buy things if you don't have the money. Something to think about. The credit card industry last year had 6,000 issuers of credit cards, and credit card consumers to those 6,000 issuers paid $90 billion a year in penalties and fees, according to a Newsweek study. Wow. So the debit card will do everything the old credit card will do. This is how this works.
Usually on a monthly basis. If you have a credit card, you have to make monthly payments.
I think you have to make payments on a credit card on a monthly basis.
Probably payments on a credit card at the end of every month.
I make payments on a credit card monthly.
Myth. I pay my credit card off every month with no annual payment or no fee. I get brownie points, air miles, and a free hat. I'm beating the credit card company up. Oh, you are you? Well, The truth is, a recent Dun & Bradstreet study says that when you spend cash, you spend 12 to 18% less than when you spend with a credit card. When you spend with a credit card, you spend 12 to 18% more than you do any other way. Think about it. Cash hurts, doesn't it? You get ready to go buy a stereo and you hand them these things, you have an ouchie moment. But if you just put this up there, you're like, no, put it on this one. And they go, well, this one doesn't work. Okay, put it on this one. That one doesn't work. Okay, put it on this one. And you just keep trying till you get one. But you do not register any pain. When you spend cash, it hurts, and you spend 12 to 18% less than when you spend on plastic. Just think about it. When you go out to eat, McDonald's found this. And that's why they started taking plastic. Nightline did a report on McDonald's deciding to take plastic. McDonald's average ticket prior to going to plastic was pretty interesting. It was $4.75 a ticket. When they started taking plastic, it went to $7. That's a 47% increase. And you know why? You want fries with that? Sure! I'll take the big Coke, I'll take the extra apple pie, and I'll pay for his. Just put it on this. Will that be cash? Yes, sir. And you're on your own. Because cash hurts, doesn't it? So you go out to eat, and they bring that little black tray, with the bill on it. That's Uncle Benjamin Franklin's coffin. Because when you lay him on there, you know they're going to carry him off. And you know he's not coming back. See ya, Uncle Ben. You go down and you get ready to buy a really nice bedroom suit at the furniture store. You're looking at it going, Uncle Ben, we got to get a bedroom suit, man. It's been good. We'll see you. Because if you carry Uncle Ben around a while, he becomes part of the family. And when you spend him, it feels like you're putting him out for adoption. That's how it feels, isn't it? It really does hurt. Now, I've been quoting that story for many, many years, and an interesting thing came up in Carnegie Mellon magazine. Let me tell you what this says in here. It says they did research on the neurological impact of big purchases. They hooked up an MRI to several participants. They watched their brainwave activity when they spent money with an MRI. In just a recent article right here, guess what they found? When people spend cash, it neurologically registers as pain. When they spend plastic, the pain is reduced substantially when it's a debit card. When it's a credit card, it's really reduced. Because with a debit card, we at least associate it with cash that's in the bank somewhere, right? Because our mind is not being tricked by this. So we have to be very, very careful. But Dave, I get airline miles. Great. Have you ever tried to cash those in? Jupiter has to be aligned with Mars, and you have to sit in the back with the cattle. Oh, well, I really get to use mine. Really? Consumer Reports just did a study that says 75% of the airline miles are never redeemed. And we spend a lot of our time out there buying stuff on a card trying to get our airline miles up. And 75% of them are never redeemed. Yeah. Hey, and there's some cool stuff coming. The things are changing, aren't they? They're moving quickly away from the magnetic stripe, and now there's chips in the cards, and it's the new RFID technology. So it's going to be a wave instead of a swipe. And what they're already finding is that when you wave instead of swipe, you spend another 8 to 12% more. Because at least when we swipe, we feel like we spent, and when we wave, we don't. And then they're taking that chip and putting it in other things to make it where it's totally not like spending money. There's some real cool technology. And it's neat technology where they're starting to put it in the PDAs, and they'll put your credit card chip in here, or your debit card chip in here. And so all you do when you get ready to buy something is you're just going to wave it. Only problem is if you're like at Home Depot and your phone rings, you could buy a whole truckload of bushes. The truth is, though, what if you could put something like Quicken in here and it automatically then registered your debit card? That'd be a pretty cool use of technology. So there's going to be some things like that coming on in the next few years. Be watching for them. They're already being test marketed and used. And all technology is not evil, but what you always have to do is you have to think, when this technology changes or my method of payment changes, is it affecting my behavior pattern? Because it usually is, and the people doing it have an agenda. They're trying to get you to spend more because they make more when you spend more. So utilize the technology, but be very wary. Be a little bit with a healthy level of paranoia about it. Cynicism. I've kind of got the gift of cynicism. So, credit cards, I need a credit card to exist? I don't think so. That's a myth. All right. Myth. I'll make sure my teenager gets a credit card so he or she can learn to be responsible with money. I send them off to school, they gotta have something to protect them. Okay, just pack an Uzi in their suitcase with the safety off. That'll protect them, right? What happened? It went off. The same thing will happen if you give them a credit card. It'll go off. Truth. The problem is this. Teenagers and kids are now the #1 target of credit card companies across America today. And the reason is this. Well, they've given you guys about all the cards they can give you. The market's saturated. But what they're discovering is brand loyalty to your first card is incredible. And I've discovered this to be true. The very first person who gives you a credit card, you'll keep that one forever. It's like an old boyfriend's number.
Most of you don't have any debt to dump. And by following Dad's advice, you never will. But be careful. They're after you. As soon as you get to college or start working, you're going to get all kinds of offers in the mail and offers from credit card companies. It's an offer to get you into debt, an offer for you to pay more than you have to. And these companies are always willing to give you stuff when you sign up, like hats, t-shirts, and beach towels. Think about it. Most college students are busy taking classes, maybe working part-time. But while you're a student, you can sign up for a credit card with no job and a blank credit report, even without a cosigner. In fact, 80% of college graduates have credit card debt before they get a job. Only college students can get credit cards this way. Credit cards are not your friends.
And what I do is I see people, I'm up front cutting up cards, and then I look at them and go, okay, where's the other one? How'd you know? Well, I've had this one since college. And they get it out and it's this old worn out looking credit card. And even been updated, but they've had it forever. It's like an old friend. Isn't it amazing? It's like a 4-year-old with a security blanket. We're very, very loyal to our very first credit card issuer, and so they all work really hard to be our very first credit card issuer. So they're on campus and they set up tables with free t-shirts, free hats, and a free pizza, don't they? And many a college student in here right now, or former college student in here right now, has traded their financial soul for a dad-blamed t-shirt. And we all know we did it. Well, I'll pay, I won't use it, I'm just getting the shirt. I'm just getting the 10% off. It'll never happen to me. You're playing with a multi-billion-dollar company. They don't make mistakes in marketing. You know, you may occasionally win that battle, but most of the time, they're coming to get you. It's not a game. And they're going younger and younger and younger and younger. The game of life now takes Visa. Visa takes life. You can't live life without Visa. What a great marketing message. And the sad thing is, deep down in our souls, we really believe we can't have a life if we don't have a Visa. That's a broken concept. Now, I'm not mad at Visa. Again, I'm in awe of the excellence of their marketing. Credit card companies market to teens for a couple of reasons. One is they pretty much saturated the adult market. They put out their 6 billion credit card offers a year in and year out for many years. And so lots of the adults have got, well, more than enough credit cards. The main reason, though, that they go after teenagers is they have found a thing called brand loyalty. What they found is the first credit card company that gives you a credit card, you tend to be very loyal to them because they treated you like an adult, and so you're kind of like, well, this was my first card, and you keep it around like an old boyfriend's phone number or something in case the other relationship doesn't go well. And it's crazy. But we do. We emotionally hang on to our first card. There's tremendous brand loyalty. So they fight very hard. They spend a lot of dollars and a lot of effort to be your very first credit card. And they keep getting younger and younger and younger teaching kids. Now, I don't think they're really trying to issue these 4-year-olds credit cards, but they're teaching them so when they get to the college campus, they pick Visa instead of picking Discover or instead of picking MasterCard. It's a brand war. Just like Papa John's and Domino's and Pizza Hut. It's a brand war. Or Pepsi and Coke. It's a brand war, right? And they're fighting for that market share tooth and nail, and they're spending big bucks to do it, and they're starting to train children. It's called kiddie branding. We found this a couple of years ago. This little baby is Barbie. Cool shopping Barbie. Now, I had girls at my house, and so we're not mad at Barbie. We have Barbie and Barbie parts all over our house. We kind of like Barbie. We wish she'd eat a little better, but we kind of like Barbie. You know. So, But I had a real problem with Cool Shopping Barbie, because Cool Shopping Barbie came out with a little MasterCard taped to her hand, and of course included in the kit is a full-size MasterCard. This particular product by Mattel was sponsored by MasterCard. So what's the message here? If you're 3 or 4 years old, 5 years old, and you're playing with Barbies and you want to be pretty and cool when you're shopping and you're cool, what do? You don't use Discover, you don't use American Express, you use MasterCard. That's what cool people do. That's the message, isn't it? And it's drilled home and drilled home and drilled home and drilled home. By the way, this little thing came with no cash. And here's what's sickening. Here's what we're training our 4-year-olds. Listen, this is how you know you're cool, right here. Listen. Credit approved. You airhead. Sad thing is, this is having an effect on our youngsters. Junior Achievement did a study called The Case for Economic Education and discovered 2 things. More young adults filed bankruptcy than graduated from college last year. And colleges are telling them in this same study over and over and over that they're losing more students to credit card debt problems than they are to academic failure. You get your credit cards up, you got to go get a job and pay them. You quit school and come home, which, by the way, activates your student loans 6 months later, and you don't have an education to get the better job to be able to pay the student loans. There's a cycle here that's really got socioeconomic impact. It's a real problem. We, the consumer, have to wake up and say, you know, I'm thinking maybe no. There's an idea. Just something to think about.